Hi, shooting full of holes here with another gun review. Today we're going to review the Ruger Yukon in 22 caliber. It is a gas spring piston air rifle. It's a brake rifle. So here it is. The scope that we have mounted on it now is not the scope that is bundled with this air rifle. This is a UTG Bugbuster 3-9x40 with mil dot and AO. So it's a better scope that is bundled with it, but not too far off. Now, I personally really love this scope. I pretty much have one of these on a lot of things. So very good scope for the money, durable, comes with rings, really easy to adjust, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, enough about the scope. So, what are my first impressions of the Ruger Yukon? You know, the rifle looks really sweet. I'll tell you that. It's not too long. The wood is pretty nice. Nice finish. Looks like it's very durable. Now, let's start with how this rifle really acts. The braking on it is really, how do I put it? Doesn't take much effort to brake this rifle, okay? To brake it and to cock it. But here's one thing that I don't like about it. There's a click at the end of the cycle just before it actually locks, which is that clicks on the automatic safety. That click is pretty loud, and it's actually, how do I put it, unnerving. It feels like you almost broke something. So that's what happens when you load and cock it. The other thing I don't like about this rifle is, well, one of the things I don't like is also the barrel itself. The way the breech is cut, it's at an angle. It's not. Here, let me. It's already been loaded, by the way. I'll show you here. It's an angle. It's not a straight square cut thing. So when you put your pellet in there, you have to push it really well. Excuse me. The other thing is the trigger safety. The trigger safety on this is it has an automatic trigger safety, but here's the thing. The trigger safety is on the on position when it is forward, like right now. When it is back here, that is the off position. Then you're ready to fire. Which to me makes no sense. In that respect, my hat's off to Crosman, because when they made their safeties or implemented their safeties in their air rifles, if it was in front of your finger and you could feel it, well, the safety's on. You had to push it out of the way. And at the same time, if you put your finger there on the trigger and you didn't feel a safety, well, you know the safety's off. But this one's just kind of kooky. It's the reverse. So why would you want a little bar in front of your trigger finger? I just don't get it. So that's another qualm with me, but okay. So let's put all that aside. It's got some quirky stuff. It brakes really smooth. Well, not smooth, easily. Less effort. So how does the gun perform? We know from other reviews that it basically performs substandard. In other words, the feet per second just aren't there. It will shoot up around between 600 feet per second between 600 and 700 feet per second most lead pellets. Though it's advertised to shoot close to 800 feet per second with lead pellets. So right off the bat we have a velocity issue. They're stacking up their numbers and they don't, that doesn't equate. Alright, the trigger. I don't like the trigger. It's plastic. And on top of that, it's way too heavy. It is predictable after a bit. Yeah, once you use it and everything, you can get to predict it. But I don't like it. It seems that you use too much effort and it's not smooth. There's a funny grind. At least with this gun, there was a funny grind, just before the second stage, and I don't like that. So okay, even after all that, how does this gun perform? Now that's the thing. So right now, it's got a quirky trigger, it's got a quirky brake, makes a funny click at the end, and it's on the low end of the power. So, and now when you shoot it, it really vibrates. It makes a racket. I'll tell you now, it'll probably dismantle most things. When I was a kid, I had air rifles like that whacked that hard, and the spring pistoned and all that stuff. It is a solid twack though, and the noise, I've heard quieter break barrel rifles than this one. So it's there, it's quiet, it's backyard friendly, but I don't think it's as quiet as other air rifles. So okay, even with all that, how does it perform? Now here's the thing. I can kind of put up with everything else, but I just can't put up with an inaccurate gun. And that's where we have a massive problem with this gun. Right off the bat, now we're talking, this rifle has already been through about 300 pellets, okay? This is not my air rifle, this is actually my nephew's air rifle. When we first got it, we were shooting around in circles. After, I don't know, maybe 100 pellets, I realized I know what the problem is, and I just don't know why it hit me. The barrel was way loose. Once you broke it, it would just flop, literally. And also, you could grab it and just move it side to side. So we tightened down the barrel. I don't know exactly what the specs are, but we compared it to other break barrel rifles, and we kind of got it within that same feel, and punched it so it wouldn't, the screw wouldn't turn anymore. So right off the bat, accuracy, we started getting some more accuracy out of the air rifle, and but that was one of its main problems. The main reason why we swapped out the scope and didn't keep the one that was bundled with it is because it was shooting running circles, so we thought it might be the scope that has a problem. So we swapped the scope. And then we figured out the barrel, and then we started getting some accuracy. But I've shot a lot of rifles, and this is only at 10 yards, just so you know. Most air rifles will shoot a group even with the worst pellets. Not a beautiful group, sometimes it's wide or it's a little wider, but you can tell it's trying to group. With this air rifle, man, it is so pellet picky, which to me also, normally when you have less velocity in an air rifle, it's less picky with its pellets. But so let me show you what I'm talking about. These are Silver Stings, and they're all over the place. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Nothing that I can call a group, and it would do that all day with those pellets. Okay? Crossburn Premiers. Here's a pellet that works good in most rifles. Luckily, those it tends to like. As you can see there, 5-shot group, and that is respectable at 10 yards. But I said respectable, not great. So when you have a one hole group, one ragged hole, now you're talking great. Okay? Just for comparison, I have my Hot Sun 125 and 25 caliber at 10 yards, and that's what it'll do. One ragged hole, 5 5-shot group at 10 yards. Okay? Now, that was the first one. So, now like I said, this rifle had already been previously shot at about, 300 pellets or so. So I think, in my opinion, we've worked out most of the kinks and kind of broken it in for the most part. The trigger is not a smooth trigger. It feels rough, and it's also really heavy. So that has a big impact on your performance. In my opinion, literally, your trigger is 50% of your accuracy. Pretty much with not just air rifles, even with center-powered or high-powered rifles. But it is even more critical with an air rifle. So when you don't have a pretty decent trigger, it's pretty tough to come up with massive great groups. So Predator Polymag, another pellet that does really well in most air rifles. Check this out. All over the place. 3 down there, 4, 5. This is at 10 yards. Okay? Literally, you could put BBs in this thing and shoot them more accurately. Alright? I don't know. Just incredibly off target from my opinion. Here's another one for comparison. My 2240 Crossman or my backpacker, with a long barrel, and I've done some modifications to it. Shoots around 600 feet per second, 630 feet per second. Most pellets. Silver Sting. That's what it does. One ragged hole, 10 yards. Okay. The Crossman Premiers. That's what it does. Now you can tell it doesn't really like them that well, but it shoots them relatively decent, but not great, acceptable. But you can tell it's a group. Now here's the pellets that it really likes is Predator Polymags. 5-shot group right there, one tiny ragged hole. Okay? Then that's why that air rifle is shot with those pellets. This is my European Starling rig, literally. This is what I shoot with, and I'll shoot it out to 45 yards easily. That's what I have written on my cheat sheet here for the scope, and that's what it'll do. Literally proven. And that's with CO2. So with CO2 powerlets, this will shoot out to 45 yards effectively and take out European Starlings. So, like I said, proven fact, it does it. So, maybe one day I'll make a video of that when we hunt European Starlings. But anyway, back to the Ruger Yukon. My final thoughts on it, I wouldn't pay the $200, knowing what I know now. There are other guns that are way better than this gun. Now, I'm sure there are other reviews out there that probably say that it does very well, and maybe you had good rifles, and good for you. I'm happy for you. But this rifle gave us a lot of problems. It still shoots, and it's decent. I think within 20 yards you could it's a rifle, but there's much better air rifles for 200 yards. I think that this rifle, they try to be too different with it. I mean, there's a lot of things that it has going for itself, the wood stock, all that stuff. But the vibration from the gas ram is pretty big. The click when you load this gun, it's unnerving. I don't like it. The trigger for me is one of the worst attributes that this gun has. It's one of probably, not the worst trigger, but it's a really bad trigger. I don't like it. It's just too heavy. I don't like it. It's plastic. It's shaky. It's everything that I don't like in a trigger. And most of all, the accuracy is just completely off. It's so pellet picky, and that's the biggest thing. When you look at the reviews on an air rifle, you have to know everything about it. Okay. Most reviews will tell you basically, you know, the air rifle performs, but they will also not tell. Most people won't tell you that they dislike the rifle, that it has potential. This, that, and that. In my opinion, I dislike this rifle. There are much better air rifles for the money. And I just feel sorry for Ruger, in my opinion, that they put their stamp on this thing. If I'm going to put my stamp on an air rifle and somebody else is making it for me, it better be really, really damn good. Because especially a company like Ruger, having the buying power that they have, you could have Craftsman, you can have quite a few other companies make them for you, you know. So anyway, I think they have a long way to go, a lot of improvement left, and hopefully maybe one day we'll see a new and improved Ruger Yukon. But anyway, like I say, go out, get an air rifle, put up a target, shoot it full of holes.